Hi everybody, it's Pandy, and I have an announcement. Due to some legal issues and recent proceedings, I have a mental health professional and a certain judge that decided that because of these issues that I'm having, the internet is not within my best interests. I will be losing my internet access tomorrow, and I will not be allowed back on to further notice. This will be my last video in a little while. I know you guys are going to miss me, and I'm going to miss you. This is not going to be very easy to do, and part of my treatment is to admit that I have problems. Some of these problems are related to my internet habits, like not eating healthy, not being active enough, not sleeping the correct hours, and many upon many unhealthy social relations. I do not know if I can tell you guys everything, but just simply put, a piece of advice to everyone out there: don't get pissed off when playing World of Tanks and be near a window at the same time, because before you know it, when you rage out, your computer is going to be flying through the window hitting a baby walker. I think I made my point. I made enough of it. So just one last note, just remember guys, don't do drugs to play World of Tanks. Thank you and goodbye. What? You guys thought I was being serious? Fuck that shit. You guys know what day today is. And plus, no motherfucker's gonna take my internet away and my World of Tanks with it. World of Tanks is Pandy. Pandy's World of Tanks. Pandy is to World of Tanks just like men is to porn. I can never have enough. The only thing that's going to make me leave the internet is the internet leaves me. Alright? Anyways, this is Pandy and I'm playing World of Tanks. April Fools, guys, and hopefully you guys understood what I said with it and didn't run off with your money to the stock market to say, hey, Pandy's gone, let's go. Whatever. I figured I'd get into the action of good old April Fools, and Happy New Year's to the fools out there while we had a chance. Hopefully you guys have a good holiday filled with great laughs and maybe some broken hearts and relationships because the joke's gone too far, and enjoy every little bit of it while you guys can. Now I'm going to get into the T34 Premium Heavy American Tank. I was going to do the Tier 8 version of it, basically with a bunch of Tier 9 video, but it didn't work out that way because I played it and I didn't think it was all that bad. Well, it's not bad, it's not great, but it's not. I'll get into it. Back in March of 1944, to counter the new German heavy tanks that came out, just like the Tiger or Tiger II, or aka the big motherfucking Tiger tank, a lengthened version of the M26 Pershing tank was developed with heavier armor, a bigger engine, and a newer turret to incorporate a high velocity 105mm main gun. These developments became what we know of as the T-29. These heavy tanks never reached the battlefield or production line at that matter, due to resistance to the idea of deploying heavier tanks on the battlefield. Now the final concept was developed at some point for the T-29 to mount a 155mm, which became the T-30, and again during the European War when it was finally over and the idea was pretty much scrapped and then brought back to life under limited procurement so that they can use these as bunker busters against Japanese fortifications on the home islands. Now these never came to fruit because of the Japanese surrender, and the final concept was developed after this in the form of the T34, which was going to mount a 120mm main gun, which was based off of the 120mm gun M1 anti-aircraft gun. Now there's two prototypes that were made, both converted from a T-29 and T-30 pilots. Once again, because of the end of the war, it basically killed the project. However, the experiences gained from these projects allowed engineers to develop a more effective M103 heavy tank, which was used until the late 70s. There isn't much information beyond what I just said. There's some technical details like different types of engines that they went ahead and tried in both of those pilots, prototypes, deals, things. And there's also different types of ammunition and other advancements that they developed, like a bore extractor, which is now featured on many upon many tanks, including the M1 Abrams tank. But those are all just technical details and nothing really that went beyond the scope of what we're trying to talk about here on my videos. Now within World of Tanks, the T34 is alright. The T-34's firepower is highly welcomed. It comes with really good pin, decent damage, and a really slow reload speed. Of all the nerfs that they've thrown into this biatch, you would have expected it to be made into a tank destroyer so you can at least have like a 10 to 13 second reload rate. I would have been happy with that, especially if maybe they even cut off 300 hit points, made it slower, made the turret rotation the same. It would have been all fine if they would have made that reload rate faster, more accurate, etc. Make it a tank destroyer. The T-30 is already a tank destroyer now, so that would have made sense. But no one listens to Pandy. No. All in all, the gun does not disappoint, and it does break in skulls of the enemies who manage to try to get into your way. This is only after you throw a rammer, a gun laying drive, and a vertical stabilizer on this bad boy to make it at least playable. In its truest form, the gun is basically worthless, and it needs these modules to make it even worthwhile, make it worth your time to even attempt to play. Now, the armor on the T34 is basically the same as the tier 9 T34. The values didn't really change, and along with that, it can still get its ass handed to it by any tank. The tank can take shells straight to the face like a bouse, but its hull armor is questionable at best. You still have to angle the hull armor to get a lucky chance to deflecting rounds from tier 5 and 6 guns. It's best for you to sit back at a long range so those rounds can decrease in penetration on its way and pound away. But you can only really do that as a sniper when you only have the modules for the gun. The gun is not all that great by itself. It needs all those modules to make it worthwhile so you can sit back. Now, with these limitations on your tank, the turret armor is still a class A, and it manages to hold up against many upon many tanks, including tier 10 tanks using regular ammo. The only real major weak spot on this tank, besides the sides and everything on the turret, if you're facing the front of the turret from a hull down position, shoot the copia. It's kind of like the commander's hatch on the very top of the tank. You'll be able to hit that without an issue as long as you have a gun that has good enough penetration, above 100 at least. The T34's mobility is somewhat bad, somewhat okay, somewhat it's slow. It is ideal for a premium tank all in all though, and when you really think about it and compare it to like the other tier 8 heavy German and Russian premium tanks, it's mixed in there real good, and I actually think it's a little better when it comes to acceleration, and the turning rate's a little lower than what the other ones are. Now, turning your frontal towards an enemy can be problematic, especially if you're up close and personal with like a medium tank doing that circle of death around you. Turning your tank towards them will bring your massive turret to bear a lot easier. Like if you try to turn your turret to the right and you're having issues trying to catch up with them, turn your tank to the right. That helps out a lot, and it allows you to bring that big 120 to bear without issue. Now, when it comes to mobility, it is very poor compared to other tier 8 heavy tanks, but when you make it a premium tank and you compare it to its companions of tier 8 premiumism, it's alright. It's, in line to the way they act. Overall, the T34 is alright. The massive gun does deliver a decent blow against the enemy when up close and personal or at a long range. It's an alright sniping platform when you got the rammer, gun laying drive, and stabilizers. The overall protection from a hull down position is great and fantastic, just like the T29 and T30. But once you're in the open and once you're visible and you're just there, you're liable to take a lot more damage in the process instead of being in a hull down position. So you want to play this tank very cautiously, very reserved. You don't want to stick your ass out there too far or you're going to get it shot off. Now, the question will be is it worth the quoted 12k gold? No, it's not. It's not worth that much gold, at least in my opinion. It should be at least a 7.5k gold tank because it's not like anything like the low, and the only reason why the low is up to the price that they are is because everyone was buying it. And if you really want to consider the facts, I have not had a 100k game with this tank as of yet, and I can't see how I could. I've gotten 80k, but I haven't gotten anything above 100k in credits. So when it comes to its money making potential, it's okay. It does make the money. It has a cheap repair cost, but it doesn't really compare to what the low was when it first came out. Is it worth the 12k? Like I said, no. But if you really want a premium tank, I don't know. I would not recommend it. With all of that, I get to the part of the video where I get to give away some World of Tanks gold. This week I will be giving away 3k gold to the North American server, 2500 gold to the European Union server. To win said gold, you must be A, be subscribed to my channel, and B, post a comment down below maybe about the video question, which is, which tank do you think is the best premium tank out there? It's actually a really hard pick, and after giving it some thought, I'll actually have to give it to the tier 2 light tank Hotchkiss. The Minnie Mouse is the Bouse. Anyone that doesn't know about this tank, it comes with the third best gun of any of the tier 2 light tanks out there, and the armor can deflect any, if all incoming rounds, or at least most rounds that comes out towards you in those type of games. The only real threats that you happen to have is like the BT2 and the T26 with the biggest guns possible on those two particular tanks, and anyone that fires gold rounds, which at that level of gameplay, no one ever has gold rounds. And I thank you guys for watching, and I'm not going to be disappearing from the internet anytime soon, so if any of you guys are worried, I am still going to be here, so don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. The internet has to get rid of me first before I will leave the internet. Sounds like a really bad relationship if you think about it. I don't want to leave her. I don't want to leave her. She has to leave me. And even if she leaves me, I'm going to hunt her down and stalk her and choke her and send her flowers. Or something. I don't know. Alright, you guys take it easy. I'm Pandy. Good hunting. And yeah, don't do drugs.